Hello, this is Kat. Today I want to talk about the question that I was asking myself before we took our last cruise on the Harmony of the Seas from Royal Caribbean. Is Galveston, Texas a good port to sail from? And the answer is, it depends. If this is your first time to Galveston like it was for us, then I say yes. There are several places that you can visit before your cruise that will make the trip worthwhile. However, I am not sure we will be back, and that is for the most basic reason, the beach. Let's start with the hotel. We stayed at the Grand Galvez, and if there was one reason that will bring me back, that is the hotel. It is absolutely magnificent. The hotel was recently renovated to its full glory. It felt to me just like going back to the Great Gatsby era. The lobby was truly a sight to be seen, with its impressive mosaic and chandeliers. Breakfast at the hotel was superb, with options ranging from healthy to complete indulgences. The pool was good, especially on our first 2 days, but it does get very crowded on the weekends. The room was comfortable but very small. It is understandable though, since it was built in 1911, where rooms used to be much smaller. One thing to take note though is that this hotel is on the Gulf side, which is further from the commercial district and most bars and restaurants. We had an oceanfront room, but don't waste your money on the upgrade. The windows do not open and they were fogged for our whole stay. The beach is really the sticky point of Galveston in my opinion. The water is not only dark, but brown dark. It reminded me a lot of the coast of Georgia, very much like Jekyll Island, for instance. It is not a beach that I would like to spend my day at for sure. Just a short walking distance from the hotel, you will find Pleasure Pier. Unfortunately, it was closed during the week and we couldn't even walk in. This is different than in Santa Monica, California, for instance, where you can walk in at any time, even if the attractions are closed. For Pleasure Pier, you will need a ticket to get in, even if you don't ride the roller coasters. On the other side of the island, on the harbor side, you will find Pier 21. From here you can see the shipyard where the USS Texas is being repaired to become a naval museum. There are also several restaurants. We ate lunch at Katie's Seafood Restaurant, and it was one of the best places that we visited during our stay. On Pier 21, you can also take a tour of an actual offshore oil rig that has been transformed into a museum. For me, this was by far the most interesting attraction that we visited while in Galveston. I really had no idea of anything related to oil drilling, and what more fitting than a tour of an actual oil rig while in Texas. The Ocean Star went in service in 1969 and drilled around 200 wells over the course of its life. Here at the museum you can learn a lot about all the different types of platforms, including the newer ship drilling rigs and the deep water oil drilling. There's so much science behind it. Yes, it is biased by the oil industry, but I learned a lot from it. The historic and commercial district in Galveston is called the Strand. It is mostly a street lined with all kinds of little shops and some little restaurants. It reminded me a lot of the type of stores that you may find in the Caribbean. The stores carry mostly souvenirs like t-shirts, mugs, shot glasses, that kind of thing. I honestly couldn't find anything interesting enough to buy. Galveston also has a trolley service, but it works mostly like a transportation service without a narrated tour. The timetable is also not reliable, so at the end of the day, we're just using Uber. On our last day, we went to visit the Railroad Museum. It was interesting, but I honestly expected more based on the recommendation from our Uber driver the day before. The museum has a section with some nice dinnerware that was used in the dining cars of some trains in the past, a very long YouTube movie that became just too boring for us to finish, and a train simulator that's not so exciting either. The main attraction of the museum is the train yard where you can see some old trains. Some of the trains are well preserved, but many are not in the best shape. Royal Caribbean has a brand new cruise terminal in Galveston, further away from where most of the other cruise lines leave. That was definitely a plus. Also a plus is that the terminal is less hectic as some of the other ports like Miami, for instance. We didn't get to see all of Galveston's attractions like the Moody Gardens, the Bishop's Palace, or the Naval Museum. However, at the end of the day, I still prefer cruising out of Florida. The beaches in South Florida especially are really hard to beat, and Fort Lauderdale and Miami have a lot more to offer in terms of things to do before your cruise. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.